Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now October 7th of 2024, and given that the Walt Disney Company and its executives, its board of directors, including Bob Iger, the CEO, are in full-on panic mode over multiple divisions associated with this company, we also know that there's been a lot of backtracking happening as we speak with Snow White 2025, with the Acolyte ratings disaster, and more, and this is exactly a result of Bob Iger's failure of all the projects throughout 23 and even this year of 24 and what looms for 2025. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So I think that we could all agree here that the Star Wars brand, the property, the franchise if you will, whatever have you, under Disney's wing is in complete this destruction mode, basically, by Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, we all know this. We've known this for multiple years now. Whatever she does, as long as she's there at Lucasfilm, everything is just going to go into financial flames. And we all saw what happened with the Acolyte series and its domino effect on multiple Disney live-action TV shows and projects really getting axed. Now, this is where things begin to get quite interesting when it comes to Disney's overall reaction toward Kathleen Kennedy, what steps they are taking to seemingly course correct, which I don't believe that they can do that in any degree. I think that Star Wars at this point is irredeemable. You cannot repair it. It would at the very least, take multiple years consistently of having many different success points to really convince the old Star Wars fans to come back. Now, focusing on what's been going on here, this is where things begin to unravel. Now, given that the Walt Disney Company and its executives are going through various setbacks due to Bob Iger's cost containment strategy, one monumental development involves more to do with Kathleen Kennedy in the wake of the multiple revisions being applied over at Lucasfilm currently, as Disney CEO Bob Iger is planning all of that in the wake of the Acolyte ratings disaster. Now, a crucial update to this situation now involves how Kathleen Kennedy recently lost a major deal with the Walt Disney Company after a series of arguments took place between herself and the Disney heads, with Kathleen Kennedy and her salary currently set at $25 million. Bob Iger recently made the ultimate decision to not only cancel her promotion that was going to bring in a raise of, get this, $10 million more a year, but as per his cost containment plan, he also shaved down Kathleen Kennedy's salary for a potential new contract deal that is being discussed to where it will go down to $7 million to around $18 million. So, cutting down $7 million is a big jab for Kathleen Kennedy. She's not happy about it right now. But in addition to all of that, Iger and the Disney executives recently canceled and axed multiple Acolyte spin-off projects. Now, this was recently just finalized as part of their right-sizing for the Walt Disney Company. It turns out that Kathleen Kennedy had greenlit a total of 4 Acolyte spin-off projects, and that Acolyte Season 2 was ready to go before it was canceled. Now, this reportedly created many emotional moments for Kathleen Kennedy toward the Disney heads, and it got very heated between herself and Bob Iger. To make matters even worse for Kathleen Kennedy's place at Lucasfilm, many of the board members also decided to cancel a new major Star Wars TV show that was going to feature Leslie Headland as either a co-writer or the main director. Now, all of those opportunities have now been dropped, and after multiple negotiations took place, Leslie lost a total of 7 Star Wars gigs after the Acolyte failure. This is just the beginning, as Kathleen Kennedy also is dealing with more and more board of directors at Disney beginning to turn on her. As of now, there are close to half the board members calling for Kennedy to not seek a contract renewal. They are already in the process of pressuring her to cancel her contract deal outright. Now guys, let me just stop here for one moment now. She's supposed to make a decision by this month in order to really get an idea of what's going to happen with Lucasfilm and how long she really wants to stay. Now, we talked about this, that she wants to stay until 2027. Board of directors, a rising number of them, by the way, month by month, do not want her to stay after the Acolyte ratings disaster. So that's why you have them cutting back on all these different Star Wars TV shows, why they are focusing now more on film, movies, as opposed to Star Wars television programs, and even the films are in jeopardy. I mean, The Rey Skywalker movie is now on hold, and we'll talk a lot more about that next week. There's a lot of things going on with that project, and not in a good way for Kathleen Kennedy's sake. And the Star Wars Jedi Prime film is also in complete limbo mode. The Taika Waititi movie, almost cancelled. I mean, it's right around the corner. There's a lot of things going on at Lucasfilm, and I would not have a doubt in my mind that The Mandalorian and Grogu could also very much potentially face a cancellation or a delay. I would say more likely a delay because they've already been filming that movie. They probably wouldn't cancel it outright, but I digress. This is where things begin to pick up. So, these movies, shockingly, were going to be fully created by Leslie Headland, and they were about to be announced at next year's Star Wars Celebration in Japan. That is no longer moving forward, of course, and those films were described to be Kathleen Kennedy's dream projects that were cancelled, since they doubled down on her vision of Star Wars and shifting away from George Lucas's vision. So those films that were cancelled were all going to take place during the High Republic era. Alright, now that era basically is a part of the Acolyte series. It takes place in the same exact time frame. They wanted to expand that into movies, but they wanted these movies to actually be exclusive to Disney+. I'm not quite sure how Star Wars films, exclusively speaking, would have performed on Disney+. I'm not so quite sure about that, especially movies set within the High Republic era. I don't believe it would have performed well at all. Now, this is not to say that Disney is beginning to fix anything at Lucasfilm, but rather, they want to distance themselves a little bit more from Kathleen Kennedy in any way possible, and it's only worsening over time for the remainder of this year as we near 2025. So basically, a lot of those executives at Disney, they are growing very much exhausted over Kathleen Kennedy's shenanigans and the millions of dollars that it's costing the Walt Disney Company. By the way, we talked about this. The Acolyte series cost well over $230 million, alright? That's not also counting marketing expenses. And you could really say it's around $300 mil that they actually spent on that project that failed miserably, by the way. It is by far one of the worst productions that we have seen under Disney's wing in history, if not the worst, because of how much money they poured into that, how terribly they marketed the project, and how they also went on this PR disaster, this press tour that was abysmal. But overall, Kathleen Kennedy is not happy about any of these developments, between her losing out on that salary, raise, and also getting a cut in her contract deal from $25 million down to $18, a roughly $7 million cut by Bob Iger because of his cost containment plan. All of those cancellations between movies and TV shows that were going to be run by Leslie Headland were supposedly her dream project. She wanted to make Leslie the new big name at Lucasfilm. Didn't work out for her. That was all also finalized just recently. And it's only getting worse as time goes on. It's not a good year for Kathleen Kennedy, especially not a good month, I should say, for the Lucasfilm president. So overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about this ongoing issue over at Lucasfilm below in the comments, in the midst of this purge, if you will. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.